right? So the question is, how do I get used to this, and what are the things which I need to ask, or what are the things which I need to keep in mind before I move or adopt this? The first and foremost question which you need to think of is it necessary? Is it necessary? Right? If there is no necessity, there's no point. If you have a method which can probably be good enough, go ahead. If you feel that Excel sheet is great, go ahead. But the question is it scalable? Can multiple people work? You say, no, this is what my practice is, this is where I'm going to be, and this is what my future. I'm going to do all my life just idli vada sambar or poha and puri, your choice. Or you want a variety of menu, you want to expand, you want to look into it, you have to be very clear. So first, let's define that. The moment you define that, identify what is that main thing which you want your software solution to help you out. Hey, I want to track attendance. They're all working from home. I don't know whether they're working. There are solutions available to track it, right? It can probably see, it can capture even the screenshots of the screen of employees. But of course, there might be issues with respect to privacy and other things. But anyways, we're not going to discuss all those aspects now. No, I want to track timesheets. Apps are available. I want to invoice. I want to link timesheet with invoice. Possible. I want to link invoice, timesheet, my document management system. Possible. And of course, we're not going to discuss each of these apps. If in case you want to discuss or get to know a few of my apps, you can look into my YouTube channel. You can just type Narasimhan Elangovan. You will get a bunch of solutions where I've spoken in the past, right? And I'm sure most of us are already using it. So from a utility perspective, I think there is no end. But I rather look at from a different angle. We being a risk professional, that's what we do, right? We understand risks. We understand by the very nature of our profession is that we are able to understand risks better. When that sort of a skill set is given to us, why don't we understand the risks pertaining to cloud? When it comes to cloud, is it risk-free? The answer is no. There's nothing which is risk-free, right? Even the government interest rate is not risk-free. It has an element of risk, just that it is fairly negated, right? So what is it that as a professional I can render services here? And that is where the beauty comes in. There are two models in which you can render services. Model number one, usage of these SaaS solutions and render services to clients across the globe. For example, you have what is called upwork.com, which posts various things relating to opportunities or freelancing requirements across the globe. There's another company I forgot recently. I keep getting emails from them. There is another portal where you can register. There are a lot of these freelancing portals which you could register and see whether you could expand your market horizon. Start acquiring new clients, render services through technology. You are able to do bookkeeping here using QuickBooks, Zoho Books, and they are able to view their data from whichever part of the world they are sitting. And you are able to do much more, right? And I was able to literally do that just by using these cloud-based solutions, right? I've been able to work with clients starting from, literally, I was just, on a conversation with one of the clients last week. I was just saying across the sun movement of the sun, I have been able to acquire clients. Of course, not every country, starting from Australia, Philippines, Indonesia, Japan, Singapore, Malaysia, India. Then I moved to the Qatar, I moved to the GCC. Then I had UK, and then now I had recently had a client in North America, right? Across the sun. Of course, that required me to adjust so many things, but that was possible, correct? Thanks to this lockdown, thanks to this virtual setup. So SaaS-based solutions give you that flexibility to open up newer opportunities, right? And let me tell you, the whole world, the reality is this. The whole world, the reality is they want cost arbitrage. They want cost arbitrage. It's time that we CA firms start exploring the way or start discussing with various CA firms across the globe, start exploring tie-up opportunities Inform them that, hey, this is what we can do. This is where our core strength is. Why don't you outsource it? You own the client. I'm not going to get into the client. You build an infrastructure, use a SaaS solution. You give us the link. We are going to work on it, and we'll give you back. You pay us at this dollars. You charge the client whatever you want. The whole world runs on an arbitrage model in the service sector industry. Correct? So cloud solutions give you those opportunities. So that is one side of it. The other side of it is something which I really like to, assessing the risk of these cloud solutions. Assessing the risk of Dropbox, assessing the risk of NetSuite, assessing the risk of Office 365. Are you possibly interested in doing that? Yes, there are possibilities, right? And if you have to do that, you need to understand what is called as the security framework, right? And that is something which you have to be very, very clear. What exactly is the security framework in the cloud? One wonderful security framework for the cloud is called as the Cloud Control Matrix. CCM, it's not Central Council member, it's Cloud Control Matrix. A worthwhile document or information for you to read through it, right? We are probably nearing the weekend. Worthwhile to look into it. And this is available for free. Top-notch companies, these documents is available for free. Google, Microsoft, anybody wants, you can download. And my dear friends, all that you need to do is very simple. Go to this website called as Cloud Security Alliance. I repeat, Cloud Security Alliance. Search for Cloud Control Matrix. You can download the template. It gives you a host of interesting information. In fact, it'll give you so many different modules like this. Application security, audit and assurance, business continuity, change control, integration, mobile security. The list is endless. Now imagine you just start going through one or two of these documents and review. Let's say you reviewed Microsoft, you reviewed Amazon's, Dropbox. You get a fair bit of idea how their infrastructure and how their system works. And why don't you start offering these sort of services to this sort of cloud-based companies? Right? Today we are talking about SaaS-based companies coming up in every nook and corner of the world, right? And you have so many such entities who come up. Why not explore this as an opportunity? The other thing which is worthwhile looking into, right, which is definitely worth mentioning, is doing the IT general control testing of these companies. Now, many of them ask, hey, what is it that I do in IT general control testing? This is what you do. You audit the system development process, you look into the computer operations, you look into program changes, you look into access to database, applications, operating system, network, whatnot. Do they have adequate user access review? Is the access provided, is it sufficient? Is it overriding? Who are the list of users? My dear friends, the list is just mind-blowing. Or if you feel that, sir, this is something which is too small, I want a bigger opportunity. What is it that I can do? And that opportunity, my dear friends, is called as SOC audit or SSAE audit, right? SOC audit or SSAE audit. Now, what is that? This is nothing but auditing the systems and organization controls of that particular organization, right? You are trying to audit so that you are giving an independent report on what? On the cloud service provider's system. Repeat, on the cloud service provider system. So when you provide an independent audit on the cloud service provider's system, you get, or you are giving the comfort to the user saying that, hey, can you, or you can rely upon this because my auditor has already looked into it, right? It's called as a system and organization controls. The only catch here is the certification has to be done by a CPA, but your, how do I put it, the assessment, implementation, all these things can be done by you, right? And this, for this, you just require probably 3 to 6 months of prep time, gearing up, doing a couple of certification courses, and you're all set, right? It requires some amount of investment, but I'm sure you'll be able to recover that. And the entire world is heading into this particular market, right? Or, sir, this is too much for me. Do I have a Desi version of it? Yes, you have a Desi version of it. And that is SAE 3402, right? SA 3402 is giving an assurance, or a service provider, a service auditor gives an assurance to the user entity's financial reporting purpose, right? Even that, say for example, any organization has outsourced payroll operations. Any organization or your client has outsourced, let us say, accounting operations or taxation or any of these to a service provider, not a CFM, a service provider. And that service provider could go for certifications like this. And who can certify that service provider? You and I, chartered accountants, right? So SAE 3402 is one of the most underrated standards. I have not seen various companies, doing audit on this. So I think this is one definitely a good area which you could look into, right? And with cloud-based organizations, my dear friends, this becomes all the more important, right? So that gives you a perspective of where we should be heading into from a cloud perspective, right? So I spoke of the concepts and I spoke of the interesting areas or your terminologies, whatever you want to refer to. Now coming to the last part, how is this going to be useful in the future? The future, just as much as you expect Zomato or companies like Paytm to run the show, of course, the share prices are down. That's another part of discussion, right? Or Swiggy's, where everything is going in an aggregator model owned by somebody else, used by somebody else, right? Cloud is one such thing which is going to happen the same way. Nobody is going to have heavy storage embedded into their system. It's all going to be driven through the cloud environment. It could be the largest of the applications or the smallest of the organizations, because the benefits what it is able to give exceed, right, the cost. And therefore, I think personally there is a huge potential when it comes to cloud. Right? It could be in various things, right? So the question is, how do I adopt to the cloud? First, as a CA firm or as a professional firm, identify what is the requirements. See what are those requirements and see, are there any risks associated if I use this technology? How do I address that? And select if there is a suitable provider. Now, one very important question. Recently I came across this, one of the CA firms, they had used one XYZ service provider who was offering a cloud-based solution, and they got started, they got various benefits, etc. But this entity was acquired by another service provider. Okay, no wrong in that. But when this new service provider acquired, they got to know that the old service provider did not have even the basic hygiene of encrypting the passwords. So your username and password, whatever you have in the system, that person was able to see in the backend. Right? In a cloud service provider, you are keeping your data, your processes, your accounting in the hands of somebody else. Would you trust a bank which does not have a CCTV camera or a security guard or a locker? The answer is no. Likewise, the same thing applies. So select a suitable service provider, get your organization cloud ready, and I'm sure that is the way you could continuously keep on improvising for you to look into this, right? So those are a few critical things which I have to speak. What are the professional opportunities? First, provide, doing a cost benefit analysis for your clients, providing some sort of an implementation assistance. Cloud implementation, I see a lot of opportunities, especially because of data migration, getting and moving it, moving from Tally to Zoho Books, Zoho to QuickBooks, whatever is that, right? Assessment of the model of the cloud. What are the various variants, right? How does it work? Consulting, right, in this entire space. Training of staff, right? IT audit of these facilities. Okay, one other important thing. This is another opportunity which you can look at. If you feel that you cannot audit companies like Zoho, Amazon, or any of these, look on the other side. I am using the facility of Amazon, Zoho, etc. Now, what is my responsibility? Can the IT team say that everything is the responsibility of Amazon or Zoho? The answer is no. A simple example: who has access to, which user has access to what information is not decided by Amazon. It is decided by you. That means you're auditing an organization, your entity or auditee has given access to 25 people and unfortunately has forgotten to revoke them. Could you blame the oddity for it, or you will blame Amazon for it? The answer is you have to blame your oddity. That means whose responsibility is it when you're doing the audit? It is your responsibility. Another scenario, you are a statutory auditor. You want to place reliance upon the controls onto the cloud. You may have to do some additional testing, right? So there are a whole lot of interesting opportunities on that, right? So that, my dear friends, will give you a broad perspective of where we look into. From a management consultancy, I think I covered most of it. You can also look from an information security standpoint, and I think the opportunities are huge. And that's been my time. I know I've exceeded probably a couple of minutes, but I thought I will give you the gist, covering what is the concepts, what is it that you need to grow or learn from it, and I've given you a couple of references. Feel free to reach out to me or to us wherever you are interested, or want to get more information onto this. And many of them keep on asking, from a technology perspective, are there various services which I can provide? The list what you see on the screen is just a small illustrative, right? There are much more in which you can do it. Happy to be in touch with you folks. Be in touch, and I'm thankful for the entire organizing team for giving me this opportunity. Special thanks to Mr. Deepak for introducing me out here, and I'm happy to be in touch and get connected. I'm available over LinkedIn. I'm also available on YouTube. Narasimhan Elangovan is my full name. You can keep on reading. There's also a Telegram group where I keep posting a lot of information. Be in touch. And the world is too small. We'll never know when we are going to meet another day. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.